visible and audible to the online audience? Can you please confirm with a thumbs up? Okay. So first up, we'll start off with the business session for the day. First, we have an update from our VP Education, Thomas Spurti. Could you please give us the update?
Thank you, Toastmaster Ankita. We have all the roles open for the upcoming meeting. Interested members kindly contact me. Thank you and bye.
Thank you, Spurti. I hope to see members willingly taking up roles and being proactive in the same. I will now hand it over to the Sergeant at Arms for the day, Toastmaster Vaishnavi. Over to you.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Discipline is what we want the most, not what we want now. All of us, how many of you sitting here have made the guilty pleasure of pulling a all-nighter before the exam and being guilty of not getting marks? All of us, right? Though we know it that we need to be consistent, we won't do it. But we can somehow pull an all-nighter and maybe pass the exam or even top. But how many of us can actually run a marathon of 10 kilometers? Not all of us. These things require consistency. And consistency is the key for small progresses. James Clear, who is the author of Atomic Habits, told in his book that every second you put in to make an effort, every minute you move further than your opponent to make a progress, you add an extra point of having a better future. So small progresses help you gain a lot. Help you gain. In my life, President Ankita helped me. I call upon President Ankita to take over.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vaishnavi, for that great address. Before I start off the meeting, I see a lot of guests here today. As I call you up on, please do come here and tell us how you got to know about this club and why you're here today. So let's start with on the left side, Yashwant, could you please come and introduce yourself?
Good evening, my name is Ashwin. I was searching for communication classes. My classes.
Thank you, Yashwant. Can we have our next guest, Arjun, please come up and give us.
Hi, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Arjun, basically from Basmudi, very close by. So when I was Googling about this, I just came on a place very close by to the house. So that's the reason I'm here, just to improve my communication skills.
Thank you, Arjun. We hope that you gain what you have aimed for from this place. Can we go on the right side? Can we start with student?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Santosh Kumar Chaudhary, and I'm working in IIFL Samasta Finance Limited. And my HOD, Mr. Prakash R, is referred here to gain better communication skill and professional skill ahead. Thank you so much.
Santosh, thank you for coming to our meeting. Can we have?
Good evening, I'm Nitin. Even I'm working from IIFL Samasta. I've been referred by Prakash to improve my communication skills.
I can confidently say you're in the right place. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, good evening, one and all. myself is Kumar Deshpande. I'm working for IFL Samastha Finance Limited. From 2020, I'm following the Toastmasters and also have been attending various webinars as referred by Mr. Prakash. And today I'm been participating as a guest here, and soon I will be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And lastly, can we have this?
So, good evening, Murandal. So, myself, Viresh from IFL Samastha Finance Limited. For the Toastmaster Club sessions, referred my HOD Prakash sir. So, that is why I am here. Sir told me, told everyone, Toastmaster clubs are very useful, whether it is came to the communication skills, leadership skills, and confident speaking, everything. It is very useful. So that's why I came here. And, hopefully, so gain all those skills.
Thank you. Sorry for that. We have another guest in the online audience. Just a minute. Yes, Inchara. Inchara, could you please unmute yourself and introduce yourself, please? Inchara, are you there in the meeting room? Okay, I think we can proceed. Looks like Samastha Finance has a lot of interested and potential members from Econ Communication Hub. I hope you all enjoyed today's meeting, all the guests in the room, and see you all join us as Toastmasters soon. Before I begin the meeting today, I would like our Secretary Toastmaster Bhavani to read out the minutes of meeting number 1155. Over to you, Toastmaster Bhavani.
Thank you, Madam President, Toastmaster Ankita. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests present here. Here are the minutes of meeting number 1155, which was held on 28th of March 2022, with the theme Walking in Familiar Shoes. And the word of the week was appealing. The business session started at 6:20 p.m. and was chaired by the presiding officer, Toastmaster Spurti. In the business session, the following points were addressed. The Vice President Education mentioned that all the roles but one speaker slot are open for the next meeting. She requested the members to keep the base camp open to provide feedback to the speakers as well as the role takers. The regular meeting started at 6:23 p.m. Sergeant at Arms Toastmaster Vaishnavi started the meeting with an introduction about the theme and later handed over the charge to the presiding officer Toastmaster Spurti, who opened the meeting, spoke on the theme and introduced the Master of Ceremonies, Toastmaster Sindhu. The Master of Ceremonies spoke on the theme and introduced the following role takers for the day. The timer, Toastmaster Pavni, our counter, Toastmaster Vaishnavi, grammarian, Toastmaster Shiv Prasad, PP validator, Toastmaster Vaishnavi. The prepared speech had one speaker, Toastmaster Bhavani, attempting her level 5 elective and was evaluated by Toastmaster Lalana Murthy. The table topic session was conducted by Toastmaster Vijay Upendra and had 10 speakers who were Toastmaster Shashikant, Toastmaster Vaishnavi, Toastmaster Sikandar, Toastmaster Krishnamurthy, Toastmaster Shiv Prasad, Toastmaster Sindhu as a guest, Toastmaster Lalana Murthy, Toastmaster Pavani, Shwetalini Sahu as the guest, and Toastmaster Spurti. The general evaluation was conducted by Toastmaster Shashikant, and the winners of the week were Best Prepared Speaker Toastmaster Bhavani, Best Evaluator Toastmaster Lalana Murthy, the Best Table Topic Speaker Toastmaster B.K. Krishnamurthy, the Best Role Taker Tab G backed by Toastmaster Shiv Prasad and NTG by Toastmaster Vijay Upendra. The President closed the meeting at 7:42 p.m. That's the end of my minutes, and back to you, Madam President, Toastmaster Ankita.
For reading out the minutes for all of us. Any changes to be proposed to the minutes of the meeting 1155? Okay. So I shall consider it as passed, and now I shall open meeting number 1156. A very, very warm good evening to one and all present here, fellow Toastmasters and our dear guests. As someone who has got hobbies ranging from painting to music to yoga to playing the guitar, I have never been afraid of being a beginner. I have always wanted to learn something new and have always known that the price that I'll have to pay to be able to do something new is to be able to make mistakes, to fall down sometimes, and to make a lot of flaws before I actually can get even decent at doing that particular thing. So during the course of the pandemic, I decided that I cannot remain seated in my couch for the rest of the day because I would feel the shooting pain in my lower back at my early 20s, which really intimidated me. So I found the newfound world of yoga and wanted to start exercising and removing the stiffness of my body. I remember the first few times on my yoga mat used to be such a pain. I would feel even 5 seconds of an asana was like 50 seconds to me. My body used to hurt, and every time my yoga session would end, I would think like I am really, really unfit. But I kept at it because the very fact that I was unfit was the motivation for me to get better. Now, success is not inevitable, it is created. With every step that you take forward, you become better. You become a notch better than you used to be. And over about 1 year of doing yoga, I slowly began to be good. And now showing up to the yoga mat was not something that I would dread, was not something I had to push myself to do. It became something I willingly wanted to do. And today, showing up to the yoga mat is something I look forward to every morning. The message I'm trying to drive here is, with everything that you take up in life, there is struggle, because struggle is an inevitable part of it. Every small step is going to add to you becoming better. A better speaker, a better guitarist, a better painter, or even a better yogi. It takes time, it takes relentless effort, and it takes persistence that, hey, maybe I'm not being able to do it today. Maybe I completely am very, very bad at it. But if I keep doing it, if I keep taking one step forward, even if that step might be really small, it is still a step in the right direction. And at one point, I am going to get where I wish to be. And with the same zeal and the same enthusiasm, one of our very new members who recently joined us has gotten up to his courage and taken up the role of the Master of Ceremonies, that is the Toastmaster of the day today. He is a Bachelor of Engineering and holds a degree in electronics. He has 11 plus years of experience in the field of embedded automated software development and validation. And he's currently working as a technical lead at Infineon Technologies. His hobbies are playing badminton, cricket, and football, and he loves spending time with his children. With a thunderous round of applause, please help me welcome Toastmaster Sikandar, our MC for the day.
Thank you, President, for such a lovely introduction. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and fellow guests. Beautiful things takes time. This is true for so many things like mastering a new habit, being successful in any aspects of life, learning a new skill. I would like to share one interesting fact about myself here. Interesting fact. I cannot speak Kannada. It is not an interesting fact, but I can read and write Kannada. The way I learned, the journey is very interesting. I was traveling, I learned while traveling to and from via metro from my home to office. Okay. So first word I learned was Rajajinagar. That was my first stop. So there I learned 4 letters, 4 consonants, and I learned 2 vowels, 3 vowels actually. I started making how we can make ra with a, ra, ja, ji, nagar, month by month, I started learning and I learned till Trinity. Trinity was though very hard to learn. Okay. Then I shifted to Vijayanagar. Vijayanagar came up with many challenges. Bal Gangadhar Natha Swamiji metro station, Krantivir Sangoli Rayana railway station. But slowly, in a year, a little more than a year, I mastered all the letters and I mastered all the vowel and consonant, how we can make words. This is how I learned reading and writing Kannada. It was slow, but I was learning day by day and I mastered it. Of course, there were many times I wanted to learn it fast. So I Googled, I downloaded some PDF, I downloaded many apps, I started trying to mug as many words as possible so that I can learn all the things, I can speak. But all it came with like the sooner I was learning, the sooner I was forgetting. But what I learned in metro station, one letter by letter, still I remember. And then that helped us in mastering this. At least I cannot say I'm a master, but I can read and write comfortably. Similarly, we all want to make the best use of available time and strive towards perfecting any skill within short period of time. Reality check. We will all come back to square one if we try to cram it in all at one place. There is one lovely quote which goes like, slow progress is better than no progress. It is a simple addition. You take any number, that is a goal. You can take any number, 100,000, lakhs, okay? You start from zero. If you keep adding zero, you will reach nowhere, you will be stand still. You cannot reach your goal. But if you start adding a minimum positive number, it is 1.1 or any number, sooner or later you are going to reach your goal. There are no shortcuts to real success. We cannot expect something magically transform our lives overnight. No, not happening. What it is in our control is our consistent effort to move ahead. Consistent, that is the word. If you progress consistently, you are sure to reach your goal. As long as you continue doing what you are doing, nothing else matters. Slow progress does not mean we failed to achieve what we wished for. So there is a story about a person named Dasrat Manji. He is also known as the mountain man. He built a roadway by chipping away the hill that was blocking the way to his village with merely a hammer and a chisel. It took 22 years to make the road, but at the end, he achieved what he wished for. At the beginning, it was impossible, and later at the end, it was possible. Small progress is still progress. Following this scheme, Toastmaster transformed into such a big and successful organization. Toastmaster is a non-profit organization started by Ralph C. Smedley in the year 1924 at the YMCA Santa Ana, California. The purpose of the club was to help its members improve their communication, public speaking, and leadership skills. Today, it has more than 3,13,000 members across 126 countries in over 14,650 members club. A typical Toastmaster meeting comprises of 3 sessions. First is the prepared speech session, where the speaker are given time to prepare for a speech on a subject of their own choice, following the guidelines of the manual. Second is the table topic session, where the speakers are chosen at random and given a topic to which they have to respond immediately. Third is the evaluation session, where the speeches and proceedings of the meetings will be evaluated. To help us with the entire meeting, we have a special task force here. We call it TABG team. And we will listen to their role one by one. First one is timer role. And for this, I would like to request Toastmaster Sasikant to explain your roles and responsibilities.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sasikant. Good evening, all. As the timer is responsibility for keeping a track of the time taken by each speaker as well as the evaluator. For the prepared speech session, for the prepared speeches, which is of 5 to 7 minutes, I will be showing the green card at 5 minutes, for 6 minutes, and yellow card for 6.5 minutes, and red card for 7 minutes. And for the evaluation of the same, I will be showing the green card for 1 minute, yellow card for 1.5 minutes, and red card for 2 minutes. And for the table topic session, for the table topic speaker, which is of 2 minutes, I will be showing green card for 1 minute, yellow card for 1.5 minutes, and red card for 2 minutes. And I will be giving the report at the end. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sasikanth. Now I would like to request our counter of the day, Toastmaster Vaishnavi, to explain your roles and responsibilities for today's evening.
Once again, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and your guests. So, has the counter for today? I shall be making note of the crutch words, and any other repeated words and pauses. Back to it.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vaishnavi. Now I would like to request grammarian of the day, Toastmaster Spurti, to explain your roles and responsibilities for today's meeting.
Thank you, MC. Good evening once again. Our plays, roles, movies, or even our speeches would be meaningless without good grammar. So, as the grammarian for the day, I would be noting down all the good usages and all the not good usages. The word of the day is amplify, which means enlarge upon or add detail to. One example for its usage would be the notes amplify information contained in the statement. I would encourage each and every one to use the word of the day, and I will be giving my report at the end of the meeting. Thank you, and back to them.
Thank you, Toastmaster Spurti. Now I would like to request TP Evaluator of the day, Toastmaster Vijay Upendra, to explain your roles and responsibilities for today's evening.
Good evening, Toastmasters. Welcome guests. As a PP evaluator, I would like to request all speakers not to talk on sex, religion, and politics. In order to maintain decorum, request everyone to exit and entry during applause. Online audience, please keep your video on at all times. I will give my report during evaluation when called upon. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vijay Upendra. Let us begin with first session of the evening, the prepared speech. Before we invite first speaker for the evening, I request the individual evaluator, Toastmaster Balaji, to read out the project guidelines.
Fabulous evening, and all the very best to the speaker of the day. The purpose of this project is to learn or review basic methods for writing a speech with a defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. The main criteria of this speech would be for the speaker to experience the structuring of the speech, and another criteria would be to have a definitive purpose. All the very best to this.
Thank you, Toastmaster Balaji. Our first speaker for the evening is attempting level 1, project 3. Our first speaker is BCom graduate from Jain College and currently pursuing USCPA. He is a passionate teacher and table tennis player. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Siva with his speech title, How to Win a War.
Master of Ceremonies for that introduction. Can I get a thumbs up from the online audience? Thank you. Violence, violence, violence. I don't like it. I avoid it. But violence likes me. I can't avoid. This is a line from a recent movie trailer. And let me tell you what, violence is cool only in the movies and not in real life. A very good evening to my fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Since time immemorial, we humans have been very good at one thing, being inhuman. You can time travel 2000 years to the past, and somewhere on earth you will see two people holding their sticks or swords and pointing it at each other and going, hey, hey, and then they proceed to stab each other. And the same will be the case, I assure you, if you travel 2000 years to the future. Now, this was between two people. What if it is between two countries or more than two countries? It turns into a war. Now, many devastating wars have been fought in the past, wars and genocides. And wars do not merely bring about victory or defeat. They bring misery, to be precise, mental and physical trauma to all those involved. War has cut down millions of lives, and since information is more important than human lives in war, people have been tortured in unimaginable ways. Unspeakable crimes have been committed against women. Entire cities have been set on fire. Nuclear weapons have been used. And worst of all, extremely toxic chemicals, which won't even be used in a science experiment, have been sprayed on people. And the most heartbreaking thing is that children who are being born today, 3 or 4 generations later, are suffering genetic disorders because of these chemicals. Now, in the past, there have been thousands of wars and genocides, but as I give this speech, there's a massive conflict raging on in Afghanistan and Syria and Iraq. There's a drug-based war going on in Mexico and a few South American countries. There's a civil war going on in our neighboring country, Myanmar, where also people of a particular community are being targeted and hunted down, just like it had happened in the case of Kashmir and is happening in China. There is a dreadful civil war going on in a country called Yemen. Now, by the way, how many of you know there's a country called Yemen? Be honest. Most of you do. But there is a continent that nobody cares about. It's called Africa. And there's so many civil wars raging on in the continent of Africa. Most importantly, the Tigray war in Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Sudan. And I assure you, there are many more countries, the names of which both you and I do not know. But people are suffering there. And of course, the latest Ukraine-Russia conflict, which is escalated, everyone knows because it is happening in Europe. For a moment, let us put aside what war means to these countries, what it means in the big picture, in the global economic setup, global sanctions, strategies, which country made how much profit by selling weapons to which country, all that macro stuff. There are real people involved in these wars. And they are fighting for their lives, for their families, and for their country. I found a couple of interesting pictures on the internet. This is the first one, where on the left you can see an old woman who has lost all her sons in the war. Her pain is immeasurable. And on the right, you see a general who was victorious in the same war, sitting there with all his accolades. The next picture that I found was this one, where you see the general sending the soldiers out into battle, happily sending them, and then when they return from battle, most of them are in coffins. Few don't have limbs, few don't have hands, few have gone insane. The generals have all the medals and honors displayed proudly on their chest. Looking at all this, My heart breaks, and I want, if it was in my hands, I would have stopped all these wars. But what I've thought of doing is writing a book. And the book will be called How to Win a War. And as soon as you open the first page of that book, you will see in big bold letters, by not having a war. The rest of the 98 pages will be blank except the last page. My fellow Toastmasters, all of you here are speakers, leaders, visionaries. And I wouldn't be surprised if one day some of you went on to become public servants and the president of our club becomes the president of the country. And if that happens and a fanatical minister walks up to you and says, Madam, let us have a war. Let us destroy so and so country for honor, dignity, and nationalism for the sake of the motherland. Give him one tight slap. I know I'm asking you to be violent, but give him a slap. Walk back to the drawer of your cabinet and you'll have your copy of How to Win a War written by a friend. Fling it at his face and ask him to open the last page. And on the last page, he will see a quote. War is where the young and naive are tricked into killing each other by the old and bitter. Over to you, Master.
That was truly an amazing and informative speech. For the next speech, I request the individual evaluator, Toastmaster Bhavani, to read out the project guidelines.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. Good evening once again. The speaker is attempting his level 3 elective from the Pathway Innovative Planning. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice writing and delivering a speech that inspires others. The purpose of the speech is for the member to inspire the audience. The notes for the evaluator: the member needs to present a speech that inspires the audience. The speech content should be engaging and the speaker is entertaining or moving. The speaker should be aware of the audience response and adapt the speech as needed. If the member appears to be talking with the audience instead of interacting with them, he or she is not fulfilling the goal of the speech. All the best to the speaker, and back to you, Toastmasters today.
Moving on, our next speaker is attempting level 3 elective. The speaker is a BCom honors graduate from Jain University. He is currently pursuing CA. He likes cycling, biking, and visiting new places. He is past president of Mekon Communication Club. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Sai Snehal with his speech title, Fight Back.
Funny coincidence that the first speaker is How to Win a War and mine is Fight Back. Have you ever been pushed against the wall to only realize that fighting back is the only way forward? Master Swamis, fellow Toastmasters, and my dear friends, history has proven that your mind can think things which are imaginable, and the ones who think have crossed all human limitations. A long time ago, there was this great gentleman, a visionary, who loved creating new stuff. He loved serving humankind, and he loved creating stuff for the future, from the future. He went on to become something which we all worship today, rather something we look up to. He wanted to serve everybody which they hadn't seen before. So he started a company in his garage with his friend. Our company today is one of the greatest giants. This company became extremely famous and extremely popular at the time when it was formed. Multiple products and a decade later, he was fired from his very own company that he started. But that did not stop him from doing what he loved the most. Regardless of the fact that he was kicked from his own company, very own company. He loved doing what he did, and that's what that mattered. He started another company, and that company today is one of the best animated creative companies today in the world, which is owned by Walt Disney, and it is Pixar. It didn't stop him even there. He went on to create another company after that too, called Next. It was a technology marvel. He was showing people what technology was, something that was unimaginable at the time the era was. This is the kind of technology that he bought. And few years down the line, that same company which kicked him bought the company and brought him back to his own company as a CEO. If you're still wondering, this is the story of Steve Jobs and the company is none other than Apple. He simply fought back by doing what he loved doing the most. A friend of mine loved playing football as much as I did, but he did not get selected in the team because of the one fact that he was fat. Now that he wasn't a good player, he was better than me by all means possible. But this one fact, it devastated the world that he believed in. But somehow, he left this, put it behind, and moved forward. But every time he remembered this incident, he used to have nightmares and he used to have tears in his eyes. Because he had dedicated so much time only to realize he was not worth it. One fine day, he was walking in one street in the Boston, across the Boston Marathon, the world famous marathon. He saw an old man about in his 70s, who was trying to keep a pace with the youngsters who were about 25, 30 years old. After a few days, he somehow managed to meet him and he asked him, "How do you do this?" And to which he replies, and I quote, "I may not be the strongest, I may not be the fastest, but I'm definitely not going down without a fight." I don't know why each one of you joined Toastmasters or about to join Toastmasters. But when I joined Toastmasters, my main purpose was to come here, give a speech, and go back home. That is all that I saw. But I saw an opportunity here, an opportunity to fight with yourself to become better each time you take up any role of any speech. A fight that you can do to better yourself every single time. I took up the executive committee roles like a fight, and today I'm one of the past presidents of this club. It is important to put in a fight because that is what that matters. When DTM Nagaraja Rao joined this club, I'm sure he did not think of becoming an international director on the day one. But he knew he could become by putting up a fight. And today, he's one of the past international directors. DTM MU Bud, when he was a part of District 82, which was consisting of India and Sri Lanka, he had served as a treasury for over a year. And he knew if he hadn't taken up that credit, within a year, he would lose it and he would have to work for it all over again. And within a span of 1 year, he gave close to 20 or 25 speeches to get his DTM tickets. Distinguished Toastmaster A.K. Prabhakara, one of the co-founders of this club, he's fought many battles for the club to have this legendary status that it has today. Not because it was an easy task or it was a cake walk, but the fact that he fought every battle and today it is here. Dear Toastmasters, it's common for us to face challenges. And it is important for us to face challenges because that is what makes us better persons. Always remember, easy roads don't make tough drivers. The next time you face a challenge or you're pushed against the wall, don't sit there waiting for the adversity to pass by, but rather put a fight back on. And that is what chose to be done. Back to the martial side.
Wow, that was truly a wonderful speech. We all should fight back to win war of our life and amplify our strength and our reach. With that, we come to the end of our first session. Let's jump to the most exciting session of the evening, the table topic session. Our table topic master for the day is self-employed and a creative soul. She loves to read and listen to positive vibes. She loves to write gratitude, poetry, and traveling. Please welcome the table topic master of the day, Toastmaster Pavani.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sikindi, for the stupendous introduction. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. 2 weeks ago, I was standing right here with cold feet and my tongue tied. But with all of your positive and generous support, today I took up the role of table topic master. I tried my best to compile some interesting topics for you. Participating in table topics actually increases our spontaneous thinking and creative instant answer. Do enjoy participating in this. Here we go. And my first question: how do you celebrate your life's choti achievements in an inexpensive way? Shall I read this again? How do you celebrate your life's choti achievements in an inexpensive way? And I chose Vaishnavi.
Once again, good evening, everyone.
How do you celebrate your life's choti achievements in an inexpensive way?
How do you celebrate your small happinesses? I think one way we could all celebrate our small happiness is by just enjoying little moments of spending time with each other. Maybe you have just scored 2% extra from the last sem. And maybe it's not a huge progress, maybe it's not such a huge achievement, but still we could enjoy by, just sharing it with others, just treating yourself a plate of samosa just because you scored that extra 2%. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Ashwin. Second question: which is greater, good intention or good communication? I'm choosing A.K. Prabhakara sir, Toastmaster A.K. Prabhakara to answer. Which is greater, good intention or good communication?
I would say both. Madam Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. You may have good intention, but if you don't communicate well, you will not be able to impress upon the other person to do what you intend to make him do. So this is the essence of leadership. So the communication is the important thing, but you have to walk the talk to show that what you think, what you believe is what you are going to really impart it to the other person, and so that he can execute what is required to be done precisely. In the Second World War, there's an instruction, that a kind of instruction was given to soldiers. He said the instruction finally has to be ensured that it goes into the head of the soldier, so that if he follows that, the overall strategy is met. and the battle is won. So in order to ingrain what he has been told, the method adopted was tell what you want to tell them what you have told, tell them what you have again told them. So 3 times, 3 different ways you have to tell. The communication becomes critical when it seems extreme importance. And that is really the thing. Even in today's Toastmasters, under civilian condition, you have to adopt this technique slightly differently. That is, tell them what you want to tell them why you have told them. So if this kind of logic and reasoning goes behind any communication, whatever is intended will be executed properly. To that extent, I say that these are all not 2 things, but it's one behind the other, and they have to go hand in hand. Over to table topic master.
Perfection is found in accepting your imperfections. Can I expect Toastmaster Mukesh to answer this?
Can you repeat? Actually, I couldn't hear you. Your voice is very low. Can you repeat it once again, please?
Perfection is found in accepting your imperfections.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you so much for giving this topic to me. I'm not getting it now. Can you go on the next one? I think I'll come back in. I'm not getting this one. I think you're muted.
You are in mute.
What are the 3 things you would carry if you were stranded in an island? Gadgets are not an option.
Good evening, Toastmasters. Three things I would like to get in my lifetime. It should not be a gadget. So, one thing I want to know first is why I bought my iPhone. So the 3 things is I might having some goal to reach it. So to complete that goal, that will be my first thing. So I would carry, and what are the things required to reach that goal. That is the first thing. So I would carry, and the confidence to achieve it, and the practice which is required to gain that goal, to achieve that goal. That is the second thing. So I will carry, and third one is the thing which should help me to get back to the normal state. That thing I will carry when I do the I take that thing and back to the
Thank you, Shashikan. Silence speaks more than words. Yes or no? Why do you think so? Toastmaster Sindhusri, can you answer? Silence speaks more than
There is something that is wrong. There is something that is actually better. I will go upright to the person that this is bothering me. Or probably I take a week number 5 to assume a lot of things in my mind and wait for my story and go and tell them again. Or this actually takes for probably straightforward. So that is why at times it's important. At times it's important videos. At times you don't have to talk about this is something I learned if I was not I have a put forward a fight. You don't have to put forward a lot of thoughts. Because every single time you cannot put a battle or a war. Sometimes silence tells a lot about the person.
What would you ask the person you really admire if you ever met? Can Ishwar, can expect any other guest to take? What would you ask the person you really admire if you ever met?
Actually, my first experience with table topics. Okay, I think when we think of the person you admire, first comes to mind person I admire. So he's a person who's come out with a lot of struggle, hard work, to a place where you can say he's really successful. So if I have a chance, I mean, if I get a chance to meet him, or if I walk out of the thing I want to ask him is, how will he have the courage to face all the challenges he has to face in his life, and how will he have the courage to overcome that? Because now what happens is in these current situations, with a lot of things that is happening around us, with the pressure, we tend to not fight back. We just try to run away from things, including opportunities. Because I was thinking whether I should talk or just things like that. So having the courage to face challenges and fighting back and winning, I think that is what I want to ask.
So much. What was the best thing about your parents raised you? What was the best thing about how your parents raised you? Yes, Master Spurti.
Thank you, David Topic Master. What was the best thing about my parents when they raised me? I think from the time when we're all born to teenager, from toddlers to teenagers, one thing we all struggle is for permission. Every time we want to go out, every time I want to go out, I've had to actually beg my parents. That's only initially. Later, when I grew up, they realized by themselves, I don't know how, that freedom is all freedom equals love. And every time they spoke to me about my better half, or if I say I want to like marry, the first thing they should tell me is give the person freedom, give your friends freedom. give your so I think this one thing is something that they really help me to, like that indoctrination helped me a lot. Freedom sometimes is so many times when I lack freedom from them, I've got agitated, I've got angry, I find all other ways to go out and do things. So as and when I did that, they realized that, you know what, it's better to give freedom, which is when like children start saying the truth and they will not lie. There's no room for lying. So one key attribute that I learned from my parents is probably freedom.
Next topic. Don't fear failure, fear mediocrity.
Thank you, Table Topic Master. Good evening, Toastmasters. Welcome, guests. Definitely, mediocrity should be shunned in the first place. It is always better to carry the confidence rather than the mediocrity. Mediocrity, we don't develop the confidence. Instead, the other way, we run away from the problems, thinking that one day we will win. That's not going to be a reality as such. It's always better shun the mediocrity, go towards achieving something, no matter how many times you fail. Fail means first attempt in achieving the goal. According to me, first attempt in which I fail. So what if I fail? So what? What is wrong with failing? Nothing. We give too much importance to the external world, forgetting about our own inner capabilities. That is the problem with us. Instead of giving too much of importance to the external world, travel inside, introspect your own self, understand your own plus points. No matter how negativity inside is there, it's always better to march forward, to become a winner. Thank you and back.
Thank you, taking out some very simple questions. I think guests will be interested to answer them. What's the valuable quality in your best friend? Anybody volunteering to answer? What's the valuable quality in your best friend?
Good evening once again to all the Toastmasters. The topic being given to me is best quality which I have seen in my best patience, humbleness, careness. As I got married 5 years back, my wife became a best friend where she can share everything, every moment. It might be a happiness, it might be a sadness, it might be a enjoyness. Every day, a day to start with a new learning which I can see in her. This is what I want to take the opportunity, and I hope that the opportunity will be.
Very happy to know you. That's all for today. Yes. It's better to wear out than rust out. Guest on online can answer.
Hi, what is the, I can't hear you. What?
Better to wear out than rust out.
Better than?
It's better to wear out WEAR, wear out,
Yeah.
than rust out.
Okay, so I don't know exact meaning, but however, I will try my level best. Most of our situation, even every day in a life also, most of the situation we react before we understand that situation. Even I also used to do from starting onwards. If somebody before the complete, we will assume ourselves, okay, they are going to do this thing. So we are suddenly we react. Other situation, we will without understanding completely. We used to do very fast, or else we completely rush. I think what I'm trying to say, it's very rush ourselves. So what will happen because of that? It will make ourselves also pressure. Whatever the expectation coming from others also, it's fine. So that's why we can be very cool. We can take some time before we start something else. We can go with proper planning and take some time before you start and give that better result, except to rush other things. That is a take on this topic. I don't know whether I was completely aligned with that your topic. So this is my take on that. So thank you very much for giving opportunity. I'm very privileged to part of this one of the best club in Bangalore. Not even Bangalore, in India. So thank you very much for giving the opportunity. Over to you, tabletop investor.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pandya. Now over to Master Sir.
That was a sensational session. Thank you, table topic master, Toastmaster Pavani, for coming up with exciting topics and keeping the session lively. I hope all of us have enjoyed the table topic session. We will now have a short networking break, so please be back in 10 minutes. come to the final session of the day, the evaluation session. Our general evaluator for the day is currently pursuing engineering course in computer science from City Engineering College. He is a passionate photographer and wanted to become a wildlife photographer. He is a person who never say no to food and trips. His dream is to go on a road trip to Leh Ladakh. He is Triple Crown Pathkeeper and Pathway Mentor winner, and youngest distinguished Toastmasters through Pathways. He is past Secretary, VPPR, VPM, VPE, President of Mekong Communication Club, and also Area Director during the year 2020 and 2021. Please help me welcome distinguished Toastmaster Udankar.
Thank you for that brief, elaborated introduction, my mentee, Master of the Ceremony, Toastmaster Sikandar. Good evening once again. So before I start off the meeting, let's take out your phones for a second. The links have been shared on the WhatsApp group for both guests and the members. Anyone in the Zoom chat, it's been shared. So you guys can take it out. Vote for the best speaker, best table topic speaker, and hold on your votes there. For the rest, I'll let you know when to do it. You can do it there and then submit. I'll just give you 30 seconds for that. You can quickly do it. So I hope everyone have voted for the best speaker and best table topic speaker. Let's quickly get started with this session. I am really apology for my voice throat. After a very long time, it's wonderful to see this room house full. Really, it is a nostalgic moment for me. After 2 long years, I'm seeing this room house full. Though it is a hybrid, I can see a lot number of guests, a lot number of members, and all this stuff's back in the place. Those ribbons, stands, the board which is filled with theme, and the delicious snacks are back. So just one thing, I hope to see this more often in future also. With that, let's quickly get started with the evaluation. And we also started on time. That's a good thing. We started dot 6:30, the business session. In the business session, we had the update from our VP Education saying all the roles are open. So kindly contact her to book the roles. Followed by that, we had our Sergeant at Arms Toastmaster Vaishnavi. So Toastmaster Vaishnavi kick-started the meeting with her interactions with the audience by asking us the questions, what they feel about the thing, and asking their response back. One thing where she could improve on is she could have rehearsed a bit and then come on here, so that she could have given a very good start. Moving on, we had our president, the lady behind the lectern, guest introduction, reading of MOM, starting of the meeting was all in place. The introduction what you gave, the introduction to the theme you gave was really good. You connected your personal life to the theme, how you were starting at doing yogas and then how you were comfortable doing yogas. That small steps you took to make it happen. That was really connecting to us. So what happens when we start giving our own life stories, we connect it easily and we can easily connect with the audience also. That you excel very well. And seriously, I don't have any suggestions to you. I have been seeing for many days, week after the week, you have been improving and improving and improving. Kudos for that. Moving on to the next role, that's the Master of Ceremony, Toastmaster Sikandar. I'll hold out to you, I'll come back to you later. And with that, we started off with the session 1, that's the prepared speech session. For the speaker 1, Toastmaster Shiva, was evaluated by Toastmaster Balaji. Can we have Toastmaster Balaji for the evaluation? Round of applause, please.
fabulous evening once more, and a special evening to the Toastmaster who gave this amazing start of a speech. Violence, violence, violence. And that's where I saw credibility, credibility, credibility. When the speaker started off, when you look at a few speakers, they're different people off stage and they're totally different on stage. And there is so much more quality that they bring in as speakers. And today, if I have to say that the quality that I saw here from our Toastmasters was fabulous. The energy and the potential that the Toastmaster could bring on stage was clearly showcased. If we talk about the research that the speaker has made, it could be about the African countries, about the European countries, about the civil wars, about everything. Research is a great weapon and you thoroughly use that weapon. The topic selection, we always need to be very apt and very relatable to the audience and the situation. And I think a great topic selection for the tense situation that we're all dealing with. The usage of body language and voice modulation, if not for a few parts, at least for the major part of your speech, you thoroughly used both your voice and body language. Now, if I was allowed to go ahead and give you some points of feedback, they'd be like this. One, the slides. Firstly, it was a great idea to have slides. And secondly, I love the slides that were projected. Simple, subtle, and so effective. At the same time, effective projection of slides would have made it a very seamless speech. Because you prepared your speech, you prepared your talk, you had everything ready for the audience. Now, where really it got a little shaky was when you were looking and you were waiting for the online audience to get on board with you because it had to be shared. Could have been done a lot more smoother. Maybe one run through with the tech person would have solved that problem today. The energy that you started off with. When you started off, I was like, wow. Violence, violence, violence. All eyes on you. Now, in such a position, now the speaker is great when he shows energy. And the speaker is at his best when that energy is carried on till that red flag is shown. So I think that energy continuity. Now I don't know if this is the right statement. I feel as a speaker, there's a little conflict in your own style for you. There is a great speaker that you show, and again, go back to another person who is the calm, composed you. Let me tell you, with the little speaking knowledge that I have, I feel you should totally be the person, the energetic person, or whoever you want to be on stage, and you will definitely be able to do that with a lot more practice, not just with the script, but also with the body language and voice modulation. Now, there were other few great lines that you used due to the shortage of time. I'm just going to give one last message and end today's evaluation. Politics is a very, very thin line. And a step that side could make it, a step this side could break it. You chose the right topic, you did the right research. But there were a few lines where you made your understandings known. Now that's what is allowed, but not in Toastmasters. You spoke about the violence, which was great. You spoke why we shouldn't be at a war, which was great. Everything was smooth. There were a few places, for example, you spoke about a particular situation blowing out because it is Europe. Now that because it is Europe, that one statement is enough for a lot of them to ask you a lot of questions, which I feel is not really necessity, but nothing to take away from the speaker that we want to see. I think one clear challenge will be that violence, violence, violence. And the speaker we saw in bits and pieces, give me a 7 minutes of the same. All the very best for a super energetic 7 minutes coming up real soon.
Toastmaster Balaji. As a general evaluator, my role is to evaluate the speaker, to evaluate the evaluator and not the speaker. And today I'll be doing the same. Toastmaster Balaji, you really did a wonderful job. You gave him the points where he could improve, and you also gave him suggestion how it could be improved. That's really good for speakers to take their meetings for the next. And I apologize for the tech delay. It was because of me, not because of the speaker. It was from the technical and it was not because of the speaker. And I would ask you, I had to ask this before your evaluation, but I would ask you now. Did you receive your evaluation guidelines and project guidelines before your time? Good. So for the next speaker, that was Toastmaster Sai Snehal. We have a slight change here. It will be evaluated by Toastmaster Spurti and not by Toastmaster Bhavani because of some emergency she had to leave. So Toastmaster Spurti, over to you.
Thank you, General Evaluator Danka, and good evening once again, and to my target speaker, Toastmaster Sai Snehal. First of all, congratulations on finishing your speech. I would be evaluating your speech in 3 slots, where you excelled at, what you could improve on, and what you could challenge yourself with. So coming to what you excelled at, when you started off your speech, I loved how you connected your speech with the speaker one speech, which gave us a personal connect to the entire meeting. The transition was really good. Secondly, you started off with a quote. You looked right, center, and left, and then with a calm tone said, "Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters." That start and that soothing tone was a great start to the meeting, and I truly loved it. Now you spoke about inspiring personalities. First, when you started off speaking about Steve Jobs, although we knew that it was Steve Jobs, the suspicion you built behind it was great. How a person started off in a garage. You used phrases like "from the future for the future." All this really amplified the body of your speech. Coming to the second part was how your friend wanted to run the Berlin Marathon and how you got inspired by it, and a football story that you brought. So the first was a great personality. Then you slowly transitioned to a friend who you got inspired to play football, and finally to yourself. So this transition, your structuring of your speech was really good. When you came to speaking about Toastmasters here, you brought in the main inspiring personalities here. M.P. Vatsa, A.K. Prabhakara sir, and Deepan Nagar. And you, even just in bits, you gave their achievements, which probably as a guest, I did not know them personally. I wouldn't know them, but still I would know the gist of what their achievements is, and congratulations on that. Finally, coming to how you took up presidency, you didn't even think of taking presidency and you were here. So the transition from Steve Jobs to your journey was great, and I really loved your structure of the speech. Points you could improve on, I would say that the voice modulation. The voice modulation, for instance, after, like I said, you started off with a bang and then you mellowed down. The entire speech was just in that tone. It was really only in that tone, and you could have improved on that. Second point is that you could have used the stage, probably when you say you go right, left, all of that. And maybe two or three rhetorical questions or interactions with the audience. And the third part where you could have improved on is what you can challenge yourself with is, again, what I feel is more involvement with the crowd, involving the crowd. Since it's an inspirational speech, here or there, sometimes the crowd might lose a little attention. So only on that. But all in all, I think you curated a great speech and involving so many inspiring personalities, right from what the world sees to hear with Toastmasters. And I truly enjoy your speech. Looking forward to
Thank you, Toastmaster Scooty. Again, same question to you. Did you receive the evaluation feedback and the project guidance way beforehand? Thank you. So, just a suggestion for you, Scooty. Before I come into your evaluation, if you could, for the next time, if you could stand a little closer to the camera, it would be really great, because when I was sitting there and I was looking at the projector, you were not at all seen, and due to the distance, the online audience may cut down your voice. So if you could stand a little closer to the camera, it would be really good. And coming to your evaluation, you did a good job. Though it was on spot, spontaneous, it was a last moment call for you. You did it, you nailed it, and you gave him correct places where he had to improve on and how he could improve on. You also did the same thing. So can we have a round of applause for both the speakers and both the evaluators? Moving on to the, before I move on to the next role, I would request the Tab G team to give their report. So starting off with the timer, Toastmaster Shashikant.
Good evening once again. The meeting started at 6:30 p.m. The target and time Toastmaster Vaishnavi took 1 minute 50 seconds, and presidential address took 3 minutes 46 seconds, and report of the previous meeting Toastmaster Bhavani took 2 minutes. Speaker 1 Toastmaster Shiva took 6 minutes 8 seconds, and the evaluator for that Toastmaster Balaji took 5 minutes 7 seconds, and Toastmaster Sai Snehal, that is Speaker 2, took 6 minutes 45 seconds, and the evaluator of the same Toastmaster Suti took 3 minutes 33 seconds, and table topic session was conducted for around 22 minutes, and number of table topics were 10, and number of speakers were 9. And the speaker 1 Toastmaster Vaishnavi took 1 minute 3 seconds, and speaker 2 DTM AK Prabhakara 1 minute 53 seconds, and the speaker 4, that is Toastmaster Shashi, took 1 minute 6 seconds, and speaker 5 Toastmaster Sindhushi took 1 minute 11 seconds, speaker 6 guest Arjun took 53 seconds, speaker 7 Toastmaster Suti took 1 minute 18 seconds, speaker 8 Toastmaster Vijay Upendra took 1 minute 23 seconds, and speaker 9, that is guest 2 Kumar, took 57 seconds, and speaker 10 guest 3, that is Toastmaster Pandya Ranjan, took 1 minute 18 seconds, and the break time was about 10 minutes, and general evaluation session started at 7:45 p.m. and it is going until from past 15 minutes, and that's it from my end, and back to you. So, DTM
Thank you, Toastmaster Shashi, for that report. Shashi, I have a suggestion for you and for all the members who are taking the time in the further meetings. If you get in case you get confused with timings, you can refer the timing cards there. It is mentioned there. And Shashi, you did a slight mistake there. The meeting timing, the speech timings is 5 to 7 minutes, and you should be showing at 5, 6, 7, and not 6, 6.5, and 7. If you could correct that in the next meeting, it would be really good, because it might vary, it would distract the speakers. So with that, great job done today. Moving on with the next two roles, R counter and PPE. Again, due to some emergency, our counter had to leave. So it will be read out by our PPE validator Toastmaster Vijay Upendra for both R counter and PPE validator.
Good evening, Toastmasters, and welcome guests. First, I will finish up our counter. Today's speaker were extraordinary, and I would like to read out the report now. Vaishnavi 1 R, Ankita 1 R, Sikandar 1 R, Pavni 1 Vaishnavi 1 Shashikant 1 R and 1 Sarthi 1 R, Guest Kumar 1 R, Pandyarajan 2 R's, and repeated words what. This is about account. And coming to PPE, There is no direct mention of sex, religion, and politics. And enter and exit during applause was maintained. Audience to keep video on, that was not maintained by couple of them. Mobile phone was not kept in silent mode. That needs to be looked into. Thank you and back.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vijay Upadhyay, for both the reports. Moving on to the next role, that's the comedian, Toastmaster Spooty.
Thank you, DTM Udanka. The good usages used today were persistence, zeal, consistence, since time immemorial, unspeakable crimes, escalated, victorious, indoctrinated, shun, simplified, subtle, and effective. The not so good usages were this one fact could have been this one comment, because the word fact was used before. Better self could have been betterment of oneself. The day one could have been on day one or day one. Help me to get back could have been help me get back. Careness could have been caring. Brief, elaborate could have been briefly elaborate. Really, apology could have been apologies. The word of the day was used by me, Toastmaster Spooty. That's the end of my report. Thank you, and back to the general.
Thank you, Toastmaster Spooty, for that wonderful report and implementing the suggestion what I gave you just a minute back. Moving on to the, can we have a round of applause for the TAPG team? Before I touch up on the remaining two role takers, I would request you all to take out your phone once again, vote for the remaining 3 members and submit your responses so that the member can count the results. Hope it's done. Even the audience, I hope it's done. The link have been shared on the Zoom chat as well. The theme, small progress is still a progress. It's the correct definition for both the role takers. 2 debutant role takers for today, Master of Ceremonies and Tabletop Masters. Can we have a round of applause for the debutant role takers? Tabletop Master, Toastmaster Pavni, you had a great choice of topics. It was really good. And you had also topics connected to the theme. That's also really good. If you connect to the topics, it will be really interesting for us to talk upon in the meetings. That really good job done there. One suggestion for Pavni, as well as the members who will be taking up table topic in the next term, next meetings. Once you read out the topic, you could repeat it again so that it will be clear for both. Since we are still in the hybrid mode, it would be easier for the online members to listen it carefully. Or if you could have a PPT ready for that and give it to the technical member before in hand, it will be easy for the online members to understand it well. So because I observed a couple of topics were repeated again and again. If that could be avoided, that would be really good. So that's it. You had a good job of done today. Congratulations on that. Not but the least, the master of ceremony, the man who withheld the meeting fully, Toastmaster Sikandar. I really like your way of approach or the theme. It was really good. How you started and how you stressed on a word, interesting fact that generated the laughter, humorous laughter in the audience. That was really good. You had a couple of humors in your speech that was really good. I could observe that many members were enjoying your session there. I even like how you linked your learnings in Kannada to from Rajajinagar to Trinity. That connection of your learning was really good. Kudos on that. Also, your link of the team to the Toastmasters was really good. One suggestion I would give to you is, you are using the script. I agree. It was your debutant role. There was no problem in using the script. But while you were using the script, you could have also made a little bit eye contact with the audience. When you were making eye contact, it was just the main frame or the main vesticle. You forgot about the side controls. So what you could do is start with this second, third, fourth, or U pattern or W pattern. You could use this patterns to just have a eye contact with the audience while you're reading the script for first meeting. As it was your debutant role, I would never say not to use your script, but yes, you did a great job on that. Can we have a round of applause for the MC? Before I hand it over to the Master of Ceremonies, one quick suggestion for your members is it's good to see members back in offline mode, back to its form, like on being back to its meetings. But one thing I really miss seeing is the lectern being with the left before the handshake. I saw many of the times when the transaction has happened, the lectern was left empty. I know we are following the COVID protocols, but it's not that we can just give a handshake to the road takers and then we at least we'll stay if okay for some we who is still following COVID protocols or still scared of COVID, that's completely acceptable. At least stay till the next speaker or the next road taker is in front of the lectern. Then you can leave the lectern. That would be really good. It's not a good view to sit there and see the lectern empty here. So that suggestion is all open to all the members. If you could implement here from the next road taking, it would be really good. Over and all, we had a very good meeting. Back to see Mekon in its old form, old meeting form, and full house of this 6th floor in Mekon building. With that note, handing over the charge back to the Master of Ceremony, Toastmasters September.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator DTM Udaka. I'm very sure these feedbacks will help us improve further. On 31st morning, 9 o'clock, I was supposed to leave to office. And then out of curiosity, I have messaged Spurti, like I will take our counter role because last time I have made a terrible, it was not so good. So I will take and improve here. Spurti told, what about MC? I was not very clear about MC role. Then she told it is nothing, just 2 speakers you have to tell and then that's all. Then I told okay, it is good. I can prepare about 2 speakers and I will be ready. But later I went to the video and then I came to know it is from start to end. I have to speak about the speech. And 31st was the day I have got my increment later. I was so tense. Till now, I just remember the percentage. I don't know the figure actually. I will go and see it today evening. But the help what she has given in last 3 days, I cannot express in words. I was calling her again and again. And I was messaging her, asking for small doubts like whom to contact, who is this, who is that. She was supporting, yes, you can do it, it's very easy and all. And because of her only, I am about to finish my session. And I would like to conclude today's my session with the lovely quote by Lori Deschaines. Keep going and don't worry about your speed. You are making progress, even if it doesn't seem like it. Forward is forward, no matter how slow. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to all the role takers today for this very amazing meeting. I would like to say we had 2 debutant role takers, like the GE also mentioned, and both of them have not just taken small steps towards their progress, but I think they have taken leaps towards their communication journey and becoming better speakers. So thank you for the courage for showing up to the lectern today. The 2 amazing speakers that we have who've given us some insightful messages to take back and ponder upon as the day progresses. And also our Tab G role takers who are like the unsung heroes, like I say, of every Toastmasters meeting. and the evaluators. Thank you everyone for an amazing job. All of you who really want to appreciate them, give them a token of appreciation. You can do that by logging on to the Basecamp. Please provide them feedback on Basecamp, and also go one step ahead and just drop them a WhatsApp message or an SMS saying that, hey, I've given you feedback on Basecamp. Please go and check that out. That makes a hell lot of difference, so that they keep coming up, taking roles, and coming out of their comfort zone and becoming better speakers and better leaders. By tomorrow, the end of the day, there will be a YouTube link shared on the Mekon Communication Club's WhatsApp group. This is done so that speakers who want to revisit the meeting, watch themselves again, or take down evaluation notes again can use the recording to do so. So please make full use of that link as well. We have had about 16 responses for today's ballot, which is about 80% of the strength of our club. So those of you who have not voted today, you know who you are. So please do vote the next time and make sure that you make it 100% voting from the audience. So coming to the results, most awaited part of today's meeting. Let me start off with the best TAP G role taker for the day. RVP Education, Dr. Spurti, for meticulously breaking down coming to our best major role taker from the MC, GE, and the TTM bucket goes to DTM Udanka for giving us a very insightful. The best table topic speaker, no brownie points for guessing this, goes to Distinguished Toastmaster A.K. Prabhakara. The best evaluator goes to our very energetic and upbeat evaluator for the day, Toastmaster Balaji. And the best speaker for the day goes to the one who taught us the importance of humanity, a lesson which all of us should behold for as long as we inhabit this planet. Thomas Shiva, could you please step? Thank you all for that wonderful meeting. Hope to see you all again next week. Until then, take care of yourselves and see you all next week. We will now rise for the national anthem before we close the meeting.